Welcome on in. Welcome on in to the Cards Companion. This is your boy Josh. I'm also here joined by Eric, otherwise known as Flavio Recruiting on Twitter. We're going to do a little fun show today, keep it a little short. We're going to do just going over some high school targets that we wanted to highlight and talk about. It's been a little while since we've done another show like this. First and foremost, Eric, how are you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, we are getting by, getting by. Like kind of that time of the year, man. You know, we've just finished up, wrapped up spring meetings. Spring football's over, portal's over. So that slower period for about the next month or so. So it's a really great time to talk about some high school stuff because June's going to be a very busy month on campus, ain't it?
Yes, sir. Got a lot of business planned out for the next couple of weeks, it looks like.
Yeah, we are excited. But we got a list of about 7 or 8 guys here we're going to highlight. We're just going to start going down the list and, getting after it, man. So the
Do
first
it.
guy I got here, I have a running back. His name is Lakey. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Lakey Tompkins. He is a on-3 industry 3-star kid. Like I don't know if I mentioned it, but running back. He's from Jacksonville, Tennessee. 6'2", 225. And he's being very heavily pursued right now by Louisville. What are you hearing about old Lakey?
So he put out his top three schools a few weeks ago. He's commitment date currently is scheduled for the 23rd of this month, so
Okay.
next week. Top three schools he listed was Louisville, Minnesota, and Memphis. So I'm not sure if he's got any more interest since then or not. Um, Dude's a big back. I mean, I've watched tape on him. I call him, and I'm gonna sound weird, but Derrick Henry Jr. I
Okay.
mean, he's every bit of 6'2", at least 225, maybe even 230, but he runs with a pad level and a strength that is very rare to see in high school. Dude is a bruising back. He will take contact and push through it and just keep turning those legs and keep getting those extra yards. Doesn't have
Yeah.
quite the top end speed that you would see out of like elite backs, but he short yardage situation. You put him inside the 10, he's getting in that. He's getting in the end zone.
Yeah, he has a really great frame on him. This is one, I think that I would feel good about from just my viewpoint. I mean, we've been saying it for a very long time now, but they're going to take multiple running backs in this class. The Caden Jones commitment is pretty much shut down, from my understanding. So you pivot to your next guy, and this is going to be that.
Yeah,
He's going to
I
be
think.
uh, a great compliment to Evan.
Oh
Or
yeah, I think
yeah,
once KD picked Oklahoma State and moved on from Louisville, Louisville turned all their attention to Lakey. He was kind of that third guy in there that if they didn't get either Evan or KD, this was going to be the guy they went with. And from what I understand, I mean they put the full court press on him. And right
yeah,
now, Louisville's the only visit he has scheduled on the 20th of June. He is, like I said, he's committing next week. Um, I feel really, really good about Louisville's chances here with him.
awesome, awesome. Then we're going to keep bouncing around here. Our next guy also, he's from Tennessee as well. That is a offensive lineman. I'm assuming he plays offensive tackle. His recruiting profile just is listed as
Mhm.
offensive lineman. But this is Charlie Edgeworth. He's another on-3 industry 3-star. He's from Chattanooga, Tennessee. This kid is massive, man. He's 6'7", 320. Just
Yeah,
a massive guy.
and he is also the left tackle for Louisville quarterback commit Briggs Cherry.
Yep.
So
Yep.
dude is
Um,
a mauler on the trenches, dude. He's good. I like Charlie a lot. I think he would come in. He could come in and be a day one impact player. He may not start, but I think he can come in. He can crack the two deep very very quickly.
well, yeah, man. And this smells like the prototypical kind of Jeff Brom offensive line building that we've been doing as of recently, where it's like take your big 6'4", 6'5" type guys, take them plus size, and just throw them in that rotation. Especially with him playing tackle, that's a position that needs to be addressed through the high school ranks. I
Hmm.
love it. I absolutely love it. I haven't seen anything. Does he have a top 3 or top 5 out?
Right now, the only thing I've seen, I haven't seen top three, top five. Everything I keep hearing is Louisville, Kentucky. That's the two schools, Louisville and
Mm-hmm.
UK, are battling for him, and it's going to come down to those two because he's got visits scheduled to both of them. He goes to Kentucky on the 30th of this month, and then he's at Louisville the week later on the 6th of June. But I'll tell you what, man, talking about the high school, that Baylor school down there, they got him at one tackle. They got a 5-star offensive tackle going to Tennessee at the other tackle. They've got Briggs Cherry. They've got a 5-star running back in next year's class. That team is loaded down there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They are. They're stacking up on talent. And what they play? Do they play at the 4A level in Tennessee?
I don't know if it's 4 or 5A. I know they're up there in one
Okay.
of the top two levels. I mean, going back to Edgeworth though, not to get too far off topic, but I mean, dude, just I could probably say made the offensive tackle, offensive lineman that I want out of this class is him. Like I said, kind of how I said with the last time with like Jaden Brodnick, dude's just a I mean, he can come in, he can contribute right away, and that's something you don't see often, especially on the offensive line level in college, going from high school to college. You don't see guys that can just come in right away and are big, strong, and can come in and play in the 2D. Most times you see guys redshirt, or if they play, they're going to give you a little contributing here and there. But I really think, like I said, I'm very high on Charlie. I think he could be a stud.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the measurables are there. You love to see that he already plays with Briggs. Briggs is comfortable with him as protection. So get it done. Bounce around again. We're going to stay on the offensive line. We're going to talk about David Pellman. That name should sound a little familiar to people inside the city of Louisville. On three industry 3-star. He plays at Ballard. Really good size on him, 6'3", 285. Again, I think that's another Louisville and Kentucky one, isn't it?
Yeah. From what I've heard, he's got visit. He hasn't got an official lined up to either school yet, any school really, but he has visited Louisville, Kentucky several times. I wouldn't count out. He just got an offer from Ole Miss recently. I know they're pushing for him hard, as is Miami if they miss out on a few of their guys. And then he is very high on Florida as well, from what I understand. So I think it's going to come down probably to Florida, Kentucky, and Louisville for him.
And if I'm not mistaken, does he play guard?
Yeah, he plays guard. He does play some outside right now for Ballard, but most sites have him projected as an inside type of guard, center type player. And if he can add some weight, like you said, 6'3", 280, 285, ideally you want to see him get up to about 6'3", 300 probably by the time he gets in to play. And again, baller. Like I said, you watch his game tape, he hits and he goes and he drives. Yeah. So I think, like I said, this one's kind of up in the air. I mean, I've heard some different people tell me different things. I've heard Kentucky lean, I've heard Florida lean, I've heard Louisville lean. It's just his recruitment is kind of a mystery right now because he hasn't had any official visits lined up. All I know, he's had a couple unofficials, but he's getting a lot of SEC interest. Like I said, I think it's going to ultimately come down probably to Florida, Kentucky, and Louisville would be my guess.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Keep going. We're going to go over to the defense here. We're going to start talking about our edges. The first one we're going to bring up, we're going to talk about Ashari Charles. I love this kid. This kid's an absolute stud. On three industry 4-star. He's a top 200 kind of a kid from Venice, Florida. Great measurables, great speed as well. It shows on tape. He's 6'2", 235. This kid can just flat out ball.
Yeah, this dude is, again, I know I keep saying like must get guys, but this guy's up there as far as probably one of the top guys I want them to get, along with like McGregory that we talked about last time. I mean, I really think with what Louisville it has on the line and what they're losing, guys graduating, and you're going to have some guys go to the portal after the off season. If you team him up with a pair of him and CJ May going forward in the future, that's a monster duo for both edges. I think Ashari could just dominate right now at the college level. He's that good.
Yeah. I think the thing that what's so interesting about Ashari is typically once you get into these months, this May, June timeframe, you're not really competing for a lot of these top 200 kind of kids, these top 150 kids that level, because most of these kids shore up pretty early now, just kind of the way that things are going. So it's super interesting that he's still on the board. Obviously, we're here in Louisville. We're here in Kentucky. Miami, from my understanding, they're using him kind of as a backup option right now.
Yep.
Same thing for LSU.
Yeah, so what I understand with Miami is they've got a couple of guys higher on their board. If they were to miss on those guys, then they're going to turn the full court press on Ashari. But I ultimately think he's going to end up leaving the state of Florida. Now, whether he comes Louisville, Kentucky, LSU, I've also heard Missouri in there as well. So where he ends up at, I don't know right now. Kind of a mix of bag of kind of things. But he does have visits lined up to Missouri, Louisville, and Kentucky, along with Miami here in the month of June. I think once we get through that month, you'll see a little bit clearer picture of where he's looking at going.
Yeah, and exactly like you said, this is one of those kind of can't miss kind of a guy. So you need to be really, really going after here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
and you don't get this kind of
in my head. I see if they can get him in the fold, and then you've got him and CJ May going forward. Plus, and if you have guys you need to pull from the portal, but that's a solid young, left end, right end, edge players duo that can be monsters in the ACC going forward for them.
Yeah. Keeping it on edges, we'll talk a little bit about Evan Harvey. He is a on three industry 3-star from Tyrone, Georgia. Very similar measurables to Ashari. He's 6'2", 230. From my understanding, this is a guy that you probably pivot to if you don't get Ashari. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to him at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he just released his top school list like maybe a month ago, and Louisville was on there along with like Duke and I think Georgia Tech, and I don't remember who all else was on there. But like you said, I think if they swing and miss on Ashari, then you look for the full court press to go to Harvey.
So yeah, Evan Harvey, very similar to Ashari Charles in my opinion from the measurable standpoint. I think the 1-2 big difference between the two is Ashari's been very public in doing camps and has a lot of that positive PR. That's not a hit on Evan at all. It's just I haven't seen very much camp film from him, and that obviously that leads a lot to recruiting. That's you see it all the time. But I think he's a very solid pickup if that's the route that we have to go. I feel just as good about him.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, for me, it's Ashari one, and then Evan, a very very close second. I just think, like you said, Ashari, his quickness off the ball and off the line is something you don't see a lot in high school, and that can translate very well when you look at edge players going from the high school game to college. The guys that can get off the line quick and get that first step on the tackle or the guard are going to be the ones that come in as freshmen and give meaningful minutes. With Evan, if he were to end up here, I look for him to be kind of a guy that rotationally would play like his freshman year, and then like his second, third year in the program would be your guy that would start. So, like I said, they're both great prospects, but hopefully they can get Ashari in the fold, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yep. So keeping it on the D line, this is a kid that I get asked about all the time, just kind of because of the local connection. But Josiah Hope, he's a on-3 industry 3-star. I think some services have him as a 4, but his industry's 3. He's from Radcliffe. He plays at North Hardin. Really good size on him, 6'3", 295. I believe he's more of a traditional nose tackle, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to play inside on the D line. Like you said, he's like 6'3", 305, somewhere around there. Look for him if he gets where he ends up in college. He'll end up probably play weight about 320. But I really like his game. I think he can come in and probably, like I said, with like Ashari, he'll crack the 2 deep as a freshman if he were to come here. Just because, like I said, with what they were losing on the line, and I don't know, like I said, you're going to grab guys out of the portal, but I think he would see some playing time as a freshman. He's that good.
Yeah. And I mean, this is pretty much Louisville, Kentucky, isn't it?
From what I understand, yeah, Louisville, Kentucky battle.
I know Auburn's kind of making a push.
I think they have. I think he's kind of backed off Auburn. I know he's high on LSU as well. And I think he's got a visit lined up to LSU along with Kentucky and Louisville and Purdue. And the rumors I'm hearing is Georgia has been in contact with him. It's kind of like their backup option if they miss out on 2 or 3 guys. If that happens and Georgia does offer him, that's going to put a kind of a wrench in the thing, because I know he's high on Georgia. And then I've heard Tennessee's looking at him as well. I think he camped at Tennessee a couple months ago, and they haven't offered him yet, but I think kind of the same thing with Georgia. They've got a couple of guys in front of him on their board, and if they swing and miss on those guys, then I would look for like Georgia and Tennessee probably throw offers to him pretty quickly. And if that happens, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that. No, you're good. I was saying if Tennessee and Georgia offer him, I think that's going to push them up there in the top schools for him. That throw a wrench in the thing. So I'd look for it. If they were right now, if you had to pinpoint it, I'd say Louisville probably leads slightly over Kentucky, but I think it's close.
Yeah, and I'm one of those guys. I love to see who is recruiting a guy, and anytime you have that sort of Georgia LSU kind of that sort of a battle that gives me the warms and fuzzies, especially if we can win that one. That'd be great. But he'll be on campus in June.
Mm-hmm. I think May 30th. He's that first weekend visit at the end of May.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. And then
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead.
I'm like you. I more so look at like it's the star rankings. I look at who the offers are. Man, I think if you could be a 3-star player and get offered from like Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, and Kentucky, and Louisville, and if you come here, you're going to be a stud. Versus you might be a 4-star guy that plays somewhere else that your offers might be you come to Louisville as a 4-star, but you might highest of their offer might be Kansas State or something like that. I'd rather have the 3-star that's getting offered by Bama and Georgia and people like that. And that's kind of where I'm at with Hope. Across the board, kind of 3-4-star type of range, but his offer list is something that should get people excited if he ends up here.
Yeah. And then last guy, second to last guy, offensive back, Jordan Crutchfield. He is an on-3 industry 3-star. What I will say, though, is he's extremely highly rated for a 3-star. If there is any sort of a rankings bump, he's a 4-star kid. He's from Fort Pierce, Florida. Pretty good measurable, 6'3", 195. Man, this kid can freaking hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about last time McGregory,
Yeah.
how hard he can hit and his type, his ball range and his ball skills and just the IQ for a football player. Crutchfield is the same exact type of player, only I think he hits harder than McGregory. I mean, dude is a legit. He's 6'3", like you said, 195, 200 pounds, safety. Um, I mean, can fly across the field, ball skills. I mean, like you said, he's going to get a recruiting bump when it happens. I think he's going to end up as like a top. Right now, I think they got him like the 39th ranked safety. I think he'll end up as like a top 20 safety and a 4-star kid. Everything I've read, it's Miami, Louisville, Kentucky. That's the 3 schools that are battling for him. I don't think anybody else is in the mix. He's got visits lined up here in Kentucky. I don't know about Miami yet, but this is one that I know the staff is recruiting him and McGregory hard, and kind of pitching them on the idea of coming in both as freshmen and getting meaningful minutes as like a safety cornerback type of role. And if you can pair those two and keep Brodnick in the fold, you've got a legit 3, 6'2", 6'3" type players in
Yeah.
the defensive backfield. That I mean, that's going to make Louisville tough if they can get all 3 of those guys committed and signed here.
Yeah, I mean, just and I know that none of these obviously have Broadnack, but with Crutchfield and McGregory, man, those two guys just like you said, you can't state it enough. If you can pull that off, that's one of the biggest football recruiting wins we've had in a very long time.
Well,
Getting those 3 guys.
I mean, you look at what Louisville normally has as a DB, either it's a cornerback or a safety. The typical guy Louisville gets and has out there on the field is like 5'11", 6 foot, 185, 190, and most DB spots. The game now, if you look at the NFL, and it started back with like the Legion of Boom with Seattle with the Seahawks back in the day with like Cam Chancellor and all those guys. Like the guy, they're getting bigger as far as like me personally, I'd rather give me a 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" DB any day. And yeah, they may not be as quick and they may not have the explosiveness that the smaller guys have, but I want to see a defensive backfield that can match up with receivers, can is taller than a receiver like a slot guy, and that can lay the lumber when they go across the middle of the field. I want the middle of the field
Yep.
to kind of be like a no-go zone, no-fly zone, so to speak, for receivers, because if you go across the middle, you're going to get laid out by Crutchfield or McGregory or whoever. And like I said, the idea they can get both of them, if they can pull both of them, is going to be, like you said, probably the biggest recruiting win we've had in a long.
Yeah. And then last guy I have here, I don't know that much about him. No disrespect to him, but Julian Holt. If you kind of want to
Yeah, man.
educate the masses a little bit on him.
So Julian he only doesn't play 7-on-7. He just plays high school ball. He's from Jacksonville, Florida. He's from Ed White. We've had some players come out of that high school that have been decent. Hasn't really got much game film out there right now. He's only had 1 season as a starter, and that's not to say he's like a bad player. It's just because he's playing behind guys that ended up going to like Florida, to Miami. I think one guy went to Central Florida. They have talent that came out of that school in the last couple of years, and he's been stuck behind them. Again, a tall guy, 6'2", 190. Not quite as quick or as hard a hitter as McGregory or Crutchfield is. I think he's kind of backup option here if they don't land one of those guys or both of those guys. If they go elsewhere, then I would look for Holt to get a big push. But he has elite ball skills, man. I mean, from the game tape I've watched, this guy's. I mean, I'd put him up there with like top 5 defensive backs in the recruiting class as far as ball skills. Some of his tape, you watch the ball and you're like, oh, there's no way this guy's not going to catch this ball. And then you see him jump up and his hand just tips it. I think I read online he's got like a 39-inch vertical or something like that, 37, 39-inch vertical. He can jump like crazy. He played basketball in high school. I look for him once he gets evaluated, which will probably be this fall after like high school season starts up. Probably put him in the 3-star range. He's not going to end up as a 4-star, but I'd say like a mid 3-star type of guy. I like this game. If you gave me the option, obviously I want McGregory and Crutchfield over him and keep Brodnick in the fold. But I think this is a solid backup option that if they lose Brodnick or if they don't get both those guys or something happens and kind of stuff goes crazy, that he can be a solid pickup. Will he, starter wise, maybe not, but he'd be a solid 2D type of piece, like a rotational guy.
Okay, cool deal. Well, that is going to wind us up on highlighting a few guys in particular. Now, I have a few questions for you. Just kind of general topic questions. Right now, it's that time of the year. Not a lot's going on, so I've seen a lot of people doing some projections for next season. What is your biggest projection for this recruiting class next winter?
As far as okay, so I think let me pull it up here. Give me a second. Biggest projection, or kind of like what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be a top 30 class overall. I think they'll sign probably anywhere between 20 and 22 guys, and I think they're going to flip a guy that most people may not see coming. I know they've got a guy who's committed to Florida State that's going to visit, but I think that they're in on a few other guys that are committed elsewhere that they're going to flip, that they're going to surprise some people. I won't say who they are because I don't want to put that out there and get it, But let's just say there's a running back that's committed elsewhere that Louisville is still working hard on, and then I think they'll hold on to Brodnick by the time it's all said and done. I mean, I don't know if you want to go into that or not, the whole deal that's going on there.
Yeah, so my whole thing, man, I tried to steer clear of speculating too much on the high school side of things.
Yeah.
It's just a personal thing on me, but I honestly I think at this, if you asked me a week ago, I didn't think he was going to be here much longer. You ask me now, I feel a lot better.
I mean, I can tell you what I got told and from people that I try and trust on recruiting side.
Yeah, go for it.
So Texas offered him, and that was the big kind of wrench in the thing. He got the Texas offer, and then he took all his Louisville stuff off his his accounts. What happened was Texas just got a commitment. Let me pull their thing up here. They just got a commitment from a guy named Jeremiah Bishop, 5-star #1 athlete out of Willis, Texas. He's going to play DB in college. From everything I got told, Texas didn't think they were going to get him. They thought he was going to either Houston or A&M. Because for whatever reason, I guess they did. I don't know. They had a good read on him, a good feel on him. That's why they offered Brodnick, because they thought they were going to swing and miss on Bishop, and then they have no other DBs committed, I think, except for maybe one guy, and they're looking at trying to their DB class being a low class, like 1 or 2, 3 guys total. When the commitment hit of Bishop, they kind of backed off of Brodnick a little bit. If you go back and look at Brodnick stuff recently, now he's all about talking about guys that decommitted from Missouri come to the Bill, talking up Louisville. So I think what happened was Texas thought they were going to miss on this Bishop kid, and they were going to go all in on Brodnick. And then once Bishop committed, they looked at it and said, okay, well, we've only got room for one more guy, and they've got higher ranked guys that are thinking about going there. So I think they're going to, it's going to come down probably to the end. Whether he visits Texas or not is going to be a big sign. But if Texas were to land, just say like Justice Fitzpatrick or Samari Matthews, guys they're in on now that are ranked a lot higher than Brodnick, then I think they're going to completely back off of him. If they miss on those guys, they're probably going to go a little bit harder at him. But ultimately, if you ask me right now to make a prediction, I think he signs with Louisville.
Love to hear it. We love to hear it. I think if you ask me a projection for the high school recruiting right now, I genuinely think this will probably be Louisville's second highest ranked class ever.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you look at you look at like the highest one with Teddy and all those guys and Eli. Yeah. That one was 24th or 25th in the 247 rankings back then. I think if this is a top 30 class, like right now they're 15th, and they're gonna drop when some bigger ranked guys commit. I mean, it's gonna happen. But if they can land the guys I think they can land and that they're in on, then yeah, it's going to end up probably between 25 and 30, and like you said, it'll be the second highest ranked class overall.
Yeah, I just and I think you just looking at this class, man, it gets you excited. I think that you're seeing a lot of the recruiting stuff that you've been doing in the transfer portal now kind of transitioning over to the high school ranks. I think just looking at this class, you're starting to really see trends over the past 3 years of what types of players they really like and what they want their system to be. They're starting to really build it. I think this is going to be a phenomenal class. It would not surprise me whatsoever if, come, I guess, in December, we're talking about, 7+ 4-star guys committed in this class.
Yep. I think you're going to, yeah. Because I think you're going to see at least, I think Briggs is going to end up as a 4-star before it's all said and done. And it may not happen until right close to signing day, but he's going to get a big bump in recruiting rankings, especially going to the Elite 11 finals. He's going to end up, most of those guys end up as a high 3 or a low 4-star type players. If you had other guys, I think Hampton, I know he's kind of a 3-star, 4-star across the board. I think he's going to end up as a 4-star if he has a good senior season. Bursch out of St. X, the linebacker, could end up as a 4-star. And then Cook, Brodnick, and Huggin. So right there, if you get those guys, that's 6. And then if you land Charles, Crutchfield, McGregory,
yeah,
you're looking at least 7 or 8 guys that could be, like you said, a 4-star type player.
Yeah, I just this is I think just you're starting to kind of flex your muscles a little bit on the high school scale side of things, and I love to see it. I think this is going to be a very, very good class, all things considered. We're in a much different spot than we were a year ago.
I agree with you, man. And then, I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but you look at like some of the talent in the state going forward in the next couple of years. There's some talented dudes out there in Kentucky, and you look at how he's prioritized right now. You know, the current year, the current class. I mean, you've got what I know. The top guy is going to UK right now. The offensive tackle out of Paducah, Strickland.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, the next the next top 5, the next 4 could all end up at Louisville with Hampton's number 2 player, then Bursch, then Hope, then Pellman, and then you drop down to Harbin, Close out of Campbellsville, and then Dawson. I mean, you could have conceivably like 8 of the top 10 players in the state going to Louisville, and that's just going to bode well going forward with the amount of talent they have in the state next year, the year after that. That Louisville should be setting themselves up pretty well.
Yeah, it's exciting times in the Ville. Exciting times. I think that's going to wrap us up today, though. Eric, thank you so much for coming on. You know you're always welcome on board. Please, guys, continue to check out the page. We got a lot of fun content going on right now. Very special guest coming on later this week. We're going to do the whole thing where we talk about college football, but not really talk about what happens on the field. Super excited for that. A lot of y'all have probably heard him on the radio before. And then other than that, we have a lot of good baseball content coming out. I know it's starting to get into that postseason a little bit. Don't want to talk about games like the Bellarmine game, but other than that, stay tuned in, stay locked in. We got a lot of good content coming out, and we're going to get you through them dog days, baby. But other than that, Eric, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate it, man.
And thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe.